I'd like to first introduce Peggy. She has many achievements. She didn't detail any of those, but I'm sure she has a life full of achievements. She'll be giving her first speech from the Competent Communicator Manual. So we're excited to have her here giving her first speech. The title of her speech is Treasurer of Student Council. So everyone, please welcome Peggy up to the lectern.
Thank you. Thank you. My talk today is certainly about being treasurer of the student council. This is a little glimpse into my life as a high school student. And you were probably all high school students. Did you all like high school? Did you all really enjoy high school?
No.
Yeah. No, it was like high school for me was like horror school. You know? I mean, it was really, really bad, especially the first 2 years. I don't know how I ever survived it, but as you can see, I did. I went to an all-girls school, an all-girls Catholic school in LaGrange, Illinois. And LaGrange is a suburb of Chicago. It's not very far from Chicago. And we wore uniforms. This is a Catholic school. We wore uniforms. And we had dark, dark navy uniforms. There were no collars. We wore white blouses with collars. And we had this kind of misshapen skirt that came mid-calf. And that was the time of the saddle shoes, you know, the brown shoes with the white. And we wore white socks. And we had long hair. We wore long hair. That was the way we looked in those days. My first 2 years in high school were really, really bad. And I got to my third year, and I kind of had some footing now. After 2 years of doing the same thing day after day, I finally had some footing. And I was elected by my homeroom to be the representative to student council, you know. Now I have to tell you, the primary thing about my going to high school was not subjects, books, learning. It wasn't anything like that. It was being popular. That's what drove me. That was my passion, to be popular, to be loved, to be liked, to be admired, you know. So when I was elected, I'm sure I was just overjoyed. So I went to the student council meetings, of course, and I sat there, did not say one word, did not make one comment. I'm sure that when I burped, I cleared my burps so they wouldn't make any sound, you know. I think what I was doing was concentrating on my breathing so I wouldn't have a panic attack. And I was particularly, did you have like an A group in your high school and a B group? Did you have that? Were you? Well, we had that, very definitely. And when I was in the presence of one of the A group, you know, paralysis would just set in. You know, I just couldn't do anything. I couldn't move. I couldn't talk. I just sort of was there, you know. And in student council, there were some people from the A group, so that kind of added to my anxiousness. At the end of that year, the junior year, we selected officers for the next year's student council. And lo and behold, if I didn't have the nerve to say I wanted to run for treasurer, I thought nobody would go with that because who wants to be treasurer, you know? I mean, that's low man on the totem pole. But I thought I would get away with that. Well, word got back to me that some of the girls said, how can she go for treasurer? You know, what nerve? She didn't make one sound all year and she wants to be treasurer. The person that told me that was someone that I respected and admired, and I really didn't want her to know that I hadn't opened my mouth the whole year during a student council. So I thought fast and I said something, I can't remember what it was. Election came. We campaigned, and I remember giving a talk, and I think it was in the cafeteria during lunchtime, and there was a joke in this talk, and some of the girls laughed. I couldn't laugh. I I just absolutely couldn't. They probably thought I was so self-controlled and so disciplined, but I just couldn't laugh. I was so scared that the laugh would not come. So anyway, we had voting day. Oh, I have to tell you about the girl that ran against me. Now, when I was in high school, I smiled. I am a natural smiler. I'm naturally friendly. But when I was in high school, believe me, I smiled a whole lot, and I was really friendly a whole lot. And the girl that ran against me did not smile. She was in the A group, and she was angry a lot of the time, you know. I didn't understand why she was so angry. When she did smile, which was very rare, it was like the heavens opened and rose petals came down and angels sang, and there was beautiful light coming. She had the most beautiful smile in the world, but she rarely used it. So we had voting day, and I'm sure I was extremely nervous. And then the next day we came back to class, and they told us, you know, who had won. I was the treasurer. I won against this girl from the A group. Can you believe that? One of the happiest days of my life, I can tell you. It's a wonder I didn't have a pin made, you know, or some sort of great badge, or maybe a streamer on my hat announcing to the world that I had been elected treasurer of the student council at Nazareth Academy. It was such a great day for me. And as the years went on in my life, when I would get depressed and, you know, into a low period of my life, I think back, when I was elected treasurer of student council, it would make me feel so much better. So anyway, I don't really remember the fourth year when I was treasurer of student council. I don't really remember it. I don't remember what I said, if I said anything, if I added anything, if I criticized it. I don't remember at all, you know. But I have to give you a footnote about that girl who was my opponent. We had a suburban newspaper that went throughout the suburbs. And they were such a wonderful newspaper. They wrote an article about her father, and they went into some great detail telling that he was a gangster. That's really what he was. He was a gangster. And they lived on a corner of Ogden and Harlem, which were extremely busy streets. I mean, this was not a residential area at all. I mean, there were lights and noise all the time. And they had a chain link fence around their house. And then I understood why they lived on this corner in this very odd place. You know, because if anybody was going to, you know, go after him, it would have been harder to go after him there, where everybody saw it. There were so many people around, so many cars, so much noise. But I understood that girl and why she had smiled and why she had this anger inside of her. Now, when I went smiling through my high school, and what was I doing? Well, I was telling everybody what I wanted them to believe, and it was that I had everything under control, that my life was just fine and dandy. But that wasn't the truth. It was just a sham that I had. It wasn't the truth at all. You know, my life was not fine. But this is what I wanted them to see. This is what I wanted them to believe about me. So the moral of my talk is that when we have an election, when we have voting, which we will have soon in this year, 2012, it's very beneficial for us to pull back that curtain and see who that person really is. What do they say? What do they really believe in? What have they done in their past? Who are their heroes? What books do they read? So that we don't vote for the wrong person. I think we've seen that time and time again in the people that we've elected, that they haven't been what they said they were. Right now, our country is in a very precarious state. Very precarious, and we have to be really careful about where we put that X.